It's July 1st, 2000, a hot summer's day in West Sussex, England. 4 young siblings are outside playing hide-and-seek in a cornfield near their grandparents' home by the coast. Later that day, the police get a call.
It's emergency, what's the problem?
I've lost my 8-year-old daughter. She's been missing about an hour and 3/4 now.
Right. Was she playing with anybody at all?
She was playing with her brothers and her little sister, and she sort of walked away from them.
And what's the name of the little one that's missing?
Sarah.
The caller is Sarah Payne, frantic because her daughter, Sarah, did not come home with her brothers and sister. 2 hours later, the police launched a major investigation into the young girl's disappearance. This would quickly turn into a huge and heavily publicized nationwide hunt to find 8-year-old Sarah Payne. Sarah Evelyn Isabel Payne was the third of 4 children to her mum, Sarah, and dad, Michael. She was dad's little girl. Sarah said that she was full of energy, lively and playful, but she could be quite timid with other people. On the first weekend of July, the Payne family decided to visit Michael's father and stepmother, Leslie and Terry, in West Sussex. It was the peak of summer, and they live by the coast with plenty space for the children to play. On the evening of July 1st, the family dined together before taking a walk down to the coastline. Sarah and her husband, Michael, decided to allow the children to remain on the beach and engage in play while they continued their walk. The children were jogging backwards and forwards, accompanied by the dog, and throwing stones towards the beach. While Sarah and Michael walked along the beach, the children chose to go play in a nearby cornfield. Michael and Sarah put their older brother Lee in charge, and they went to play in the cornfield, just meters from their grandparents' house, while Sarah and Michael walked along the beach.
She used to love playing like hide and seeks and things like that, which is what we were doing on that day, pretty much. The field was probably 30 seconds away from Nan and Grandad's house. In fact, their house backed onto it, so it was really close.
Sarah fell and hurt herself in the cornfield.
She was crying, just a bit of a drama queen like that anyway. She decided that she wanted to go back to the house. So I ran over there and I grabbed hold of her and I was just, "Oh, Sarah, come on, come back and play or whatever, or at least wait, we'll go back and then we'll walk back together." And she was really adamant that she wasn't coming.
Sarah stormed off. "I'm going back to Nanny." Then she was off, like they do, and then Lee followed her.
She went round the outside of the field. I decided to cut across the corn to chase her, like to kind of hit her off. By the time I was there, she was gone.
The siblings were then looking for Sarah, but they couldn't find her, so they ran back to their grandparents' home in front of Michael and Sarah and said, "We couldn't find her mom."
And then the boys appeared. "Can't find her, Mummy. I just can't find her. Don't know where she is."
After the 999 call, everyone starts to help in the search for Sarah, including neighbors, locals, and dog walkers.
Throughout the day, local people have joined police officers to search the fields and woods around where Sarah Payne went missing. Sarah had been playing outside with her younger sister and 2 older brothers when they became separated.
By the time the police was called, we had about 100 people already searching for Sarah. Throughout the day, people still came to help, and police officers, with search dogs, searched the fields and woods. 4 hours after Sarah went missing, police received the initial tip regarding her disappearance, and it came from her brothers. At approximately midnight, Luke approached and informed her "Mom, we have something to share with you." When they arrived at the edge of the cornfield, they saw a white van with a strange man inside. The man drove off and waved to the brothers. Every appeal they could, and every media outlet was running Sarah's story. In the next 48 hours, Sarah's story was on the news, with the picture of Sarah wearing her red school uniform becoming a famous and widely circulated picture. The next couple of weeks, Sarah and Michael did daily press briefings for Sarah to come home.
Soft, gentle little girl. She hasn't got a horrible bone in her body. Her brothers and her sister are... they're really not coping very well without her. Somebody out there must have seen her. They must have seen her on that road. They must have seen her. Sarah, if you're watching, Mummy loves you. And we miss you. And we're looking for you, darling, and we're going to find you. Okay? We're going to find you. We're coming. We're coming. I know we're taking our time, darling, but we are coming, aren't we?
We're going to be there.
Yeah.
We're going to find you. We're going to bring you home to your brothers and sisters.
Several other suspects were also questioned, and at least one other individual was arrested. Volunteers and police officers scoured the Little Hampton area for clues.
It's possible if she moved some distance that she could still be hidden somewhere, but we do have to consider there is a growing possibility that she has been abducted. Time is still of the essence, and for that reason we are prioritising that line of inquiry.
As the investigation for Sarah continues, police began investigating Sarah's possible abduction and began checking the sex offenders register. It was still relatively new at the time, which meant that anyone who registered as a registered sex offender had to be known to the police and where they lived. They were required to maintain an accurate record and report to the police on a regular basis. One man on the register list is an individual named Roy Whiting. Roy Whiting was born in Horsham, West Sussex, on January 26, 1959, who works as a car mechanic. In 1986, he married a 19-year-old girl who became pregnant in the same year. However, they separated shortly before the birth of their son and divorced in 1989. Roy Whiting was the first on this list because of a case in which he abducted a 9-year-old girl named Anne and sexually assaulted her in the woods on March 4, 1995. In June 1995, Roy Whiting was sentenced to 4 years in prison for the kidnapping and assault of the young girl. Upon the abduction, Whiting had sold his vehicle to evade detection. However, the police soon located the vehicle, and forensic evidence within revealed that it was indeed the vehicle in which the girl had been abducted. Roy Whiting was released from prison in November 1997, having served 2 years and 5 months of his 4-year sentence upon abduction. On the 2nd of July 2000, officers from the Sussex Police made a visit to his flat. When they inquired about his whereabouts on the 1st of July, his response was that he had visited a fun fair in Hoves, located several miles away from the location where Sarah was abducted. As far as the police know, Whiting did not own a white van, so the officers did not question him more. However, they did not trust the answers that Whiting gave, so the officers went to their car and waited. Not long after that, Roy came out of his flat, and to the officers' surprise, he stepped into a white van, and while he stepped into the van, a receipt fell out of the van. They found out the van was from a petrol station, miles away from the fun fair, according to the alibi he gave earlier. Later that evening, detectives arrested Roy Whiting. When Whiting was questioned about the disappearance of Sarah, He gave no comment.
What side of the road was she walking on? No comment. For what stage did you decide that you were gonna take her? No comment.
Because there was no direct evidence to support Whiting, he is released on police bail after 48 hours. The next couple of weeks, the police and the Payne family continued to search for Sarah, and the end came on July 17th.
In a Sussex field tonight, police are examining the body of a little girl found just 10 miles from where Sarah Payne went missing at the beginning of the month.
Luke Coleman, a farm laborer, was removing ragwort from the field situated near Polborough in West Sussex. As he approached what he believed to be a deceased animal, he became aware, to his dismay, that it was in fact the body of a naked child. Sarah's remains were discovered in the undergrowth of a field in close proximity to Polborough, approximately 15 miles from her place of disappearance. I was shocked and dazed. I ran home and contacted the police, said Luke.
The first thing I can confirm with you now is, as a result of the post-mortem that was carried out in the early hours of this morning, this is now a murder inquiry. The second thing that you will obviously be wishing to anticipate is that we have been able to identify that the body in the field half a mile from here is Sarah Payne's.
This case has evolved from a case of a missing girl to a murder inquiry. Once again, Sarah and Michael stepped forward, this time not to help find Sarah, but to find her killer.
We've got a job now.
And that's to catch this person.
Or persons, or
Whoever it is has got to be caught.
stopped. They must never, ever be allowed to put another family through this.
Because the case and the family were constantly in the news, people came forward with tips. On July 20th, one woman called when she saw Sarah and Michael on the news. I believe I saw a child's shoe lying in the middle of the road near Coolham Crossroads. The shoe was later identified by Sarah's mother. This provided an important evidence might help them crack the case, as the shoe was located in close proximity to Sarah's body and where the police were aware of Whiting's presence that night. We made the decision to reschedule Roy Whiting on suspicion of murder, but he declined to provide any further comment. The police had made the difficult decision to allow Roy Whiting to leave again. He moved back to his hometown of Crawley. People in the neighborhood threw bricks through the window and shouted outside his father's flat. Roy Whiting felt the pressure, so his next move was bizarre. He went to camp, in a tent not all that far from the estate in Crawley, where he abducted the girl in 1995. However, in a remarkable turn of events, the subsequent actions effectively assisted the police in bringing him to justice. On the 23rd of July, Whiting was involved in a high-speed chase with the police after he stole a Vauxhall Nova, after colliding with a stationary vehicle. While under surveillance, he stole a car, and when the police pulled alongside him, he panicked and slammed the car into reverse. After a high-speed pursuit across dirt tracks and playing fields, eventually crashing into a parked car. After admitting to 1 count of reckless driving and 1 count of stealing a vehicle without consent, Whiting was sentenced to 22 months in prison at Chichester Crown Court. After Whiting began his jail term for the car theft and dangerous driving, detectives carried out forensic tests on his 1988 white Fiat Ducato van, which he had bought on 23 June 2000. It was evident that any evidence that may have been present could be long gone. However, The apprehension of not discovering anything quickly dissipated when a single blonde hair was discovered on a red sweatshirt. It was a piece of Sarah's hair. The shoe of Sarah, which was discovered on the side of the road, had a Velcro strap that had picked up fibers that were also linked to the interior of the van. They were able to link the fibers found in that shoe, which linked Roy Whiting to the shoe, and the shoe with Sarah. Slowly, they were able to build a strong enough case against Roy Whiting, and on February 6, 2001, while serving 22 months for the car theft, Roy Whiting was arrested in his prison cell and charged with the abduction and murder of Sarah Payne, 7 months after her disappearance. As Sarah deserved, she got her goodbye as a princess.
So her funeral became her wedding, which is why there was the white horses and the white coffin, and so I could make it as special a day as possible for her, and that's what we did.
Dear Sarah, we loved you. You were a joy that made our lives full. Daddy called you Princess because that's just what you are.
The trial began on November 14, 2001, at the Lewis Crown Court. Roy Whiting was convicted by the jury of abducting and murdering Sarah Payne on December 12, 2001, without knowing about the first abduction in 1995. He was sentenced to life in prison. A life sentence should mean life, according to the trial judge, Justice Curtis. After hearing the details of what happened with the first abduction, some people did not handle it well. Some cried. Some walked away from the terrible details of what had happened. On the 24th of November, 2002, Home Secretary David Blunkett issued a significant decision. Roy Whiting was required to serve a minimum of 50 years in prison by the man. This would make him eligible for release on bond until 2051, when he'll be 92 years old.
This doesn't make us happy, but justice has been done. Sarah can rest in peace now. But let's make sure that this stops happening time and time again.
Unfortunately, Roy Whiting appealed his sentence, and the chance of 50 years was reduced to 40 years. This would make him ineligible for parole until 2041.
It's 40 years, right? The guy's going to be in his 80s. Is he going to make it to his 80? But then, is he going to be allowed out? He's got to go for parole. Are they going to let him out after that? He's got to prove himself. They ain't going to let him out. He ain't coming out. He ain't going to walk our streets again. Of course it's outrageous, isn't it? I mean, of course it is. I mean, David Blunkett gave him that sentence. He'd have stuck with it. The guy, he shouldn't even got a sentence. He should have just been told, that's it.
Well, all the time it was 50 years, my family and I could relax that he wasn't anywhere near children to hurt them. And there was no chance of him getting parole, so that was something that we could relax about. Right now, obviously, we're a little bit reeling from this. We expected it to be cut, and to be honest, it could have been a lot worse than it was. So he's still got his life sentence. You know, the family obviously doesn't get a parole date. There is no parole date for the family. There is no end to this. This is our lives from now on.
Despite all the heartbreak she went through, Sarah wanted to do something. She began researching the laws on sex offenders and vowed that she would change the system. She initiated a call for law enforcement to adopt the British version of Megan's Law in America.
During the 90s in America, an act called Megan's Law had been passed after a similar case. It meant parents found out if sex offenders were living nearby.
This is a tribute for our daughter's memory. And it's a memory that we want other parents and children to carry in their hearts and to remember so that they can protect their children.
This law would mean you had the right to know where registered sex offenders lived in your area, and Sarah Payne's mother campaigned with the help of the News of the World.
So basically we looked at all the things to do with sex offenders, and it just seemed that everyone was playing into their offender's hand. Nobody was looking after these children. We found that the police's hands were tied an awful lot of the time when it came to offenders. So if they saw an offender outside of school, the police had been taught they couldn't move them along. They couldn't stop them from standing there because it was the offender's human right to stand wherever they damn well pleased. They could come out of prison, not sign on with the local police station for 4 weeks, which all just seemed so very wrong. The News of the World is a massive paper. We started naming and shaming because paedophiles exist through secrecy. Everybody knows that. That is their one tool. If you pick out every other tool in their toolbox, the one thing they need to survive is secrecy. And I'm like, well, why are the authorities keeping their secrets? Very often, children that have been sexually abused end up living in the same village as a sex offender when they're let out. I needed other parents to know this is going on.
In September 2008, it was introduced to 4 pilot areas of England and Wales. In August 2010, the Home Office announced that the Child Sex Offender Disclosure Scheme would be extended to cover the whole of England and Wales by spring 2011. After her hard work, Sarah Payne was made a member of the Order of the British Empire, MBE, in December 2008 for her work toward the passing of Sarah's Law. On the 4th of August 2002, Roy Whiting was subjected to an assault with a razor by another prisoner while retrieving hot water. In June 2004, Ricky Tregaskis was convicted of the slashing that left Whiting with a 6-inch scar on his right cheek. Whiting was again attacked in prison in July 2011.
11 years after her death, the man sentenced to life for her murder back in the headlines. Reports that Roy Whiting has been attacked by an inmate. The alleged incident at Wakefield Prison in West Yorkshire saw one man hospitalised. Police have confirmed they were called to the jail on Friday morning following an altercation between 2 inmates, one who did not receive life-threatening injuries taken to hospital. Pictures said to be of the 52-year-old paedophile have appeared in print, but prison authorities nor police have confirmed the victim's identity. Whiting, who was jailed in 2001 for abducting and killing 8-year-old Sarah the previous year, was attacked by a cellmate in 2002.
On the 8th of November 2018, Whiting was subjected to a 3rd assault by 2 other prisoners in his cell. He was taken to hospital for treatment, but was returned to prison shortly after in a stable condition. Whiting was attacked by Kevin Hayden and Richard Prendergast. On the 11th of February in the year 2024, Whiting was once again subjected to attack. A police spokesman for West Yorkshire Police stated that at 5:14 p.m. on Sunday, 11th February 2024, police received a call from a member of staff at HMP Wakefield reporting a male prisoner had been stabbed. His injuries are not believed to be life-threatening or life-changing. It seemed that after all the struggle, setbacks, and sadness, and the hard work to compensate for the loss of her child, immense pressure was on the family. Michael and Sarah divorced after 18 years of marriage in August 2003. They have another setback to throw. In December of 2009, Sarah suffered 2 brain aneurysms that turned into stroke.
I'm no illusions here. This is going to be a tough, tough mountain to climb. I've got a long way to go. I've got a lot of work to do. I'm going to have to work really hard in rehab every single day for the foreseeable future. If I get into the rehab unit, it means I'm going to be working every single day on just getting all those normal muscles that everyone uses every day, working in a normal way.
Eventually, Michael experienced difficulties with alcoholism, mental issues, and depression. There is no doubt about it that the contribution of Sarah's abduction and the stresses and strains that produced led to his early death. Michael Payne passed away on October 30th, 2014. He was 45 years old. In a document, Sarah and the siblings told their story.
I dread the night time when it comes to that point, when I put my head on that pillow, because it's just you and your thoughts.
If I'd, had my head on that day, realised that she was, in the back of that van, then, but ultimately I was a 13-year-old kid. There's not much I would have been able to do.
When something bad like that's happened to someone you love, you almost feel guilty for just even being alive, and they're not.
She beat me out of the field, walked around the road, which is 100 metres, if that. By the time I was there, she was gone. So it's literally 30 seconds, if that, behind her. Yeah. As I was walking up the road, Whiting drove the other way in his van. Gave me a little wave as he went.
I'm scared to sleep at night half the time. So I work myself solid till I'm pretty much drop, because there's fears of what's there when I close my eyes.
When it comes to feeling guilt about the situation, I did for a few years. Beat myself up about it, thinking that if I'd maybe run faster or not ran through the corn, I might have caught up with her.
I think that's what Sarah was put on this earth to do, achieve, is to make Mum who she is today. And I think Sarah was special in that way. I was always told that she was very caring and loving, and I think that's what Sarah would have wanted for Mum to help other families, not just our own.
I always remember her with a smile. I miss her every single day of my life, and I will miss her forever. Nothing will ever change that. But I miss not arguing with her. I miss not having those teenage years. I miss her not putting me through sheer hell, slamming doors, hormones, periods, boyfriends, and then the future, that marriage, children of her own, a good career. All of those things that have been robbed from her were robbed from all of us. We were lucky to have her for the 8 years that we had her. And I'm so glad that we did. I wouldn't take that away for 1 minute.